Namaste. My name is JVN Rishi Gautam from Department of Journalism. Today's topic is forms of communication. Forms of communication vary in terms of participants, channels used, and context. The four main forms of communication, all of which will be explored in much more details in this lecture, are interpersonal, intrapersonal, group communication, and mass communication. This lecture is designed to introduce you to all these forms of communication. If you find one of these forms particularly interesting, you may be able to take additional courses that focus especially on it. You may even be able to devise a course of study around one of these forms as a communication major. In the following, we will discuss the similarities and differences among each form of communication, including its definition, level of intentionality, goals, and context. The first one is intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication is communication with oneself using internet vocalization or inflective thinking, reflective thinking. Like other forms of communication, intrapersonal communication is triggered by some internal or external stimulus. We may, for example, communicate with ourselves about what we want to eat due to the internal stimulus of hunger, or we may react intrapersonally to an event we witness. Unlike other forms of communication, intrapersonal communication takes place only inside our heads. The other forms of communication must be perceived by someone else to count as communication. So, what is the point of intrapersonal communication if no one else even see it? Intrapersonal communication serves several social functions. Internal vocalization or talking to ourselves can help us achieve or maintain social adjustment. Frank E. Exdans and Carl E. Larson, speech communication, concepts and behaviors, Newark, N.Y. Holt, Reinhardt, and Winston. For example, a person may use self-talk to calm himself down in a stressful situation, or a shy person may remind herself to similar during a social event. Intrapersonal communication also helps build and maintaining our self-concept. We form an understanding of who we are based on how other people communicate with us, and how we process that communication intrapersonally. The shy person in the earlier example probably internalized shyness as a part of her self-concept because other people associated her communication behaviors with shyness and may have even labeled her shy before she had a firm grasp on what that meant. We will discuss self-concept much more in chapter 2, communication and perception, which focus on perception. We also use intrapersonal communication or self-talk to lift off steam, process emotions, think about some things, or rehearse what we plan to say or do in the future. As with the other forms of communication, competent intrapersonal communication helps facilitate social interaction and can enhance our well-being. Conversely, the breakdown in the ability of a person to intrapersonally communicate is associated with mental illness. Next one is interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is communicated between people whose lives mutually influence one another. Interpersonal communication builds, maintains, and ends our relationships, and we spend more time engaged in interpersonal communication than the other forms of communication. Interpersonal communication occurs in various contexts and is addressed in subfields of study within communication studies, such as intercultural communication, organizational communication, health communication, and computer mediated communication. After all, interpersonal relationships exist in all those contexts. Next is group communication. Group communication is communication among 3 or more people interacting to achieve a shared goal. You have likely worked in groups in high school and college, and if you are like most students, you don't enjoy it, even though it can be frustrating. Group work in an academic setting provides useful experience and preparation for groups work in professional settings. Organizations have been moving toward more team-based work models, and whether we like it or not, groups are an integral part of people's lives. Therefore, the study of group communication is valuable in many contexts. Next is mass communication. Public communication becomes mass communication when it is transmitted to many people through print or electronic media. Print media such as newspapers and magazines continue to be an important channel for mass communication, although they have suffered much in the past decade due in part to the rise of electronic media. Television websites, blogs, and social media are mass communication channels that you probably engage with regularly. Radio, podcasts, and books are other examples of mass media. Thank you.